Welcome to Comic Chat with Gat, episode 20. We're back to reading comics edition. I am one of your hosts, Taylor Catchard. With me, as always, is Chris Gatley.
Hi, everyone.
So today we're going to be talking about two major events in the DC universe, and then we're also going to touch on a similar event in the Marvel universe. So we're going to be talking about Multiversity, which is a 7 or 8 part comic book series. I can't remember how many issues because I'll explain why. It's not like I can look at it and be like, oh, that's number 8, obviously. 8-issue comic book series that's written by Grant Morrison, and it's super interesting and different, and it's awesome. And then
is Grant Morrison famous for something? Isn't his name is familiar?
Yeah, Grant Morrison is the one who wrote Final Crisis. He wrote Arkham Asylum, which the book Arkham Asylum is kind of what the game is based off of, as well as changing comic books. Like, it was the same time. Arkham Asylum was around the same time that The Dark Knight Returns came out, and Watchmen and all that stuff, like that basically changed comic books for the better. You know, that kind of changed how people perceive comic books. He's basically one of the most prolific comic book writers out there, I would say. So
okay.
He wrote All-Star Superman. I don't know if I said that one already, but that's a really good one. There's a really good movie on that, so you should watch that one if you ever see it. It's a really, really good Superman story. There's not that many great Superman stories as we talked about in the past, so he wrote one of them, and it's excellent. So yeah, Grant Morrison. His stuff's usually real heady, I guess. I don't know if heady is a good word, but it's
what does that word mean?
Thought-provoking, I guess, and like it's a tough read. You really have to think about it. His stuff's pretty in-depth, so it's not really a whimsical story ever. It's always like, oh shit, stuff's going down. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Convergence, which is the secret wars of DC, I guess you can call it. If you're a Marvel fan, you don't know. It's everyone's fighting. We talked about it a couple weeks ago on the podcast. I'm just going to kind of breeze through it. It was fun, but it wasn't earth-shattering, except I think the end was pretty earth-shattering, but we'll get to that. And then
it's done now, right? Yeah,
it's done. And I'm going to talk about Secret Wars, which is still going on. I've only read the first issue, so there's not going to be too many spoilers of that. But I think it's still, the first issue was pretty insane. All right, so let's get into it. Multiversity. I don't have all the books in front of me, so I can't count them, but they're all issue 1s. So you got Multiversity issue 1, and then you've got like a book called The Masterman Multiversity issue 1, and then you got the Multiversity Guidebook issue 1, and then you've got Ultra Comics number 1, and there's a couple more in there that are also number 1s, but they're all part of the same story. But I guess they're all happening at the same time, if that makes any sense. So in these comic books, the characters in the comic books are reading a comic book that you end up reading. It's the 8th, I think, or 7th or 8th book before. It's like the 3rd to the last book or 2nd to last book that basically the front of it is Ultra Comics. And it's like, only you can save the world. It's a guy pointing at you. And it's saying, only you can save the world. If you value your lives, you must not read this comic. And so you're like, oh, I want to read this comic, right? And so then it's the book, it's this Ultra Comics character. He's talking directly to you. Like, he's saying, you can save the world, but you have to, like, don't turn the page. Like, if you turn the page, we might not be able to make it. And then, of course, you turn the page. And then it's like this weird, like, dude in a suit. And it's kind of a very Twilight Zone-esque dude. He's kind of like, oh, you should wonder no more. And then this is not a hoax. This is not a dream. This is not an imaginary story. Not an Elseworlds tale. This is Ultra Comics. And like, you're reading this comic book that's like breaking the fourth wall and totally intense. But that's the book that the comic book characters read inside of these other comics where there's like the worlds are colliding. All the multiverses are coming apart, and all the bad guys and good guys and all this stuff shit's going down. And so it's a book about like all the different Earths in the multiverse coming together to form like a superhero team to defeat the ultimate evil, which I'm pretty sure we found out is like us and our imagination, I feel like. Or we're the ultimate hero.
Is the enemy?
Or we're the ultimate hero, I think. At the very end, spoiler alert, the kid wakes up and like half the stuff you saw in the books is lying around him. Like, there's a Rubik's Cube, and there's this thing about the cubes in the thing, and there's this little monkey, and the main character had this like sidekick monkey. And so it's kind of like, what it's saying is like, Grant Morrison talked about this in his book Super Gods, which I just read. So this book made a lot more sense to me than I think it would to someone just picking it up, saying that like he believes that comic books, or not believes, I don't know if necessarily, but he thinks comic books could be actually a gateway to another dimension that we're seeing in 2D space, but they're living through. And us turning the page continues their story, but like it pauses when we close. And so this book is like a comic book version of that principle. And so the main guy that like gets corrupted is the reader in the first book, but you don't know that until the last book when you see him like in his pants and stuff from Earth Prime, which we talked about Earth Prime. You remember? Earth Prime is the like real Earth. It's actually Earth 33 according to the multiverse, but it's like our Earth where there's no superheroes. But then there was that one Superboy who's real, Superboy Prime. We talked.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah. And so it's super interesting. And I think the most interesting book in the bunch is there's two. There's the Multiverse Guidebook, which was about halfway through, that has a solid, 30 pages explaining each individual Earth, like all the different universes and all the characters that inhabit them, which was fascinating to me. Might not be fascinating to other people, but I was like, holy shit. You know, like one of the Earths is Red Sun Earth, and the other Earth is like the one where Earth 3 is commonly is where the bad guys live. It's the Crime Syndicate of America, where Ultraman is the Superman, but he's the tyrant. And then there's Owlman, Superwoman, Johnny Quick, Power Ring, Deathstorm, and Atomica. So Deathstorm is the inverse of Firestorm, right? Owlman is the inverse of Batman. There's actually a movie called Crisis on Two Earths, I think, that has those characters in it. I think James Woods plays Owlman, which is fun.
Does he look like the guy from Watchmen?
Kind of. Yeah, he does kind of look like that. And actually, as I was reading this, there's definitely a Watchmen universe. Earth 4 is Watchmen, but it turns out that Alan Moore, because like I said, I read Grant Morrison's book. Alan Moore was trying to make an Earth 4 comic, and they decided they didn't want to give him the rights to those characters, so he just remade them. Called something else. So like there's the Question, who's this detective guy that's kind of gruff that has no face in a mask with a hat and like a trench coat. And then there's the Captain Alan Adam, that's a blue, like infinite, like guy. You know, basically he's Dr. Manhattan with an atom mark on his forehead. And Blue Beetle is the owl, or is it owl? No, Night Owl is the Night Owl of that universe. And there's a Nightshade and Peacemaker. So it's Peacemaker's the comedian. It's basically the same thing, which I found fascinating to me. It's fascinating, but all the Earths are just super, super interesting. Like there's Earths where like the Batman Beyond universe exists. There's an Earth 11 where the Amazons of Themyscira imposed their law on the whole world and changed it. And so the world's Justice League is composed of Wondrous Man, Aquawoman, Batwoman, Superwoman, Jesse Quick, Star, Sapphire, Power Man, and Zatara. So they're all women except for Wonder Woman, who's a dude, which I think is funny because he's Wonder Man. And then there's like and some of these are the Earths that you read in the multiverse book. So you go through them, and about 6 or 7 of these are characters that you saw and you read about. So it's really, really, really cool. And I really suggest reading it if you want like a deep book. And I might suggest reading the multiverse book first, and it kind of gives you an understanding of the characters, because I had to go in reading a lot of these going, I don't know who these people are, but I hope I like them. You know, it's weird going into comic books not knowing who you're reading about. And I guess that's kind of what you do when you start a comic book. You have to go into that mindset, and you kind of have to get back into that, I don't really know who these people are, but I'm sure that they'll explain themselves as I go kind of mentality.
Okay.
So I don't know. I've been talking a lot. Do you have any questions, or do you want to clarify anything, or do you want me to move on?
No, I don't. I just don't understand it at all. It seems okay. So how does it end?
It ends,
the kid wakes up.
Well, they win. They win, but the kid kind of wakes up because let me find the last page. There's a super awesome moment I want to talk about near the end too, which I think the Comic Chat Twitter pushed out. It ends with like they officially make the super team, and they save the Monitor. And the Monitor, there's the Monitor and there's the Anti-Monitor, right? The Anti-Monitor is the guy who destroyed the world in the Flash. Barry Allen Flash died killing in Crisis on the Infinite Earths. We talked about that in the first episode of Comic Chat with Gat about the Flash, and how he ran really fast, and he always seems to be a big part of these stories, which he's a big part of this one too. The Flash, you can't save the entire universe with the Flash. It's like a fact. Anyway, so yeah, I woke up and it's kind of like the guy was a junkie and he owed $800, and like 800 was like a number.
Which guy? Which guy?
The Monitor wakes up and it's a human. Okay. He's just a dude, and like all the bug creatures were termites from his shitty apartment. And he was a drug addict, and like he's bleeding out of his nose. This was all a drug trip, I think. At the end, it kind of bothered me. Like I was kind of like, Grant Morrison, classic Grant Morrison.
Usually known for so he's known for those kind of things. It wasn't,
but it was because I read that book. Like I knew so much about him because it was a mix between the history of the comic books and the history of him. Like it was like the history of comic books and like how all the characters came to be, and then it was also like intertwined with like his autobiography. And so just from the stuff that he's done, like he's done super intensive drugs, and like believed he's traveled to like Alpha Centauri, and he truly believes that he's been there and he's going to go there when he dies, but he can never get back. He can never get that same high again to get there, no matter how many things he's tried and stuff like that. And so it's like, I feel like this is probably the most Grant Morrison thing I've ever read Grant Morrison write. If that makes any sense. And so, but in Multiverse, in the book, the first one is Multiverse number 1, and the last one is Multiverse number 2, and everything else takes place like simultaneously in the middle of these books. And there's an awesome moment where the Flash, let me get back to it. Also, Aqua Lady is badass, and there's also a universe that's basically the Marvel universe too. Let me find that too. It's really cool.
So it had like Spider-Man and stuff in it too?
It's not quite, but it is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's funny.
Yeah, I'll find it in a second because there's not. I mean, there's only a billion of these universes to find. Sorry, this is great. Good. There's a vampire superhero universe. Let's see. Did I pass it? I don't think I passed it. I must have passed it. Damn it. There's only so many of these. Oh, here it is. So yeah, there's Batlin Bug, who is and there's Stun Master, Behemoth, Hyperius, Major Max, which, I mean, the names don't really make sense, but if you looked at these characters,
you'd see who they were.
Yeah, like there's let me see if I could find that. There's one, I think the Bug is the Hulk. Like he's this giant blue guy, and then there's like this spider-looking girl, and there's this, he's a knight in shining armor with a shield, and there's like a metal armor dude. You know, it's basically, there's Thor, but it's not Thor. So it's kind of cool. Anyway, so at one point, the Flash is like, we're going to need help. And so he says, he's like, promised I wouldn't go running into trouble, Hank. He's like, but speedsters always make the ultimate sacrifice, like the Flash and in Christ on Infinite Earth. So it's self-referential, right? And so this guy starts running really fast, and it's like, this is for you, Hank, SOS, SOS. And it says Flash Fact, which I love that he put the Flash Facts back in there because I miss those in comic books. There used to always be, the Flash started out as a science book for children to learn science facts. So anytime the Flash would do something sciencey, there'd be a Flash Fact in like a side.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, yeah, so it says Flash Fact, Red Racer is now circling the planet Earth 6 times every second, approaching dimensional escape velocity. So he's just running real fast. I'm like, what's going on? And then you turn the page, and there's like, I don't know, it says, I guess it tells me exactly how many here. Survived a whole bunch of infinite mass, 15 Flashes from different Flash universes behind him, because he ran into the alternate dimension, or he went into the dimensional version of the Speed Force and just called all the Flashes. And it says, and he's like, yeah, exactly, that's it. And he comes out of the dimensional porthole talking to the other Flashes. He's like, yeah, exactly, and that's the guy I just explained about. And they're all running, and it says Flash Fact, approaching the speed of light, time slows to a stop. A split second lasts forever. Time enough to recruit an army. And it's like pointing at like how there's 15 Flashes. And he's like, whoa, I survived a whole bunch of crises. He's like, near mass infinite punch multiplied 15 times took him down. So he 15 near mass infinite punches, which was pretty cool. It's a cool moment, especially since I love the Flash. We love the Flash here, so it was fun. So yeah, it's.
Was there anything with Arrow involved?
The Green Arrow wasn't a big part of any of these. No, he's too small.
Is he ever?
Yeah, I mean, he's a part. I mean, he just actually. I've been reading it's called. Oh gosh, what's it called? It's the one with Batman Beyond comes back, and it's a New 52 story. I think it's wrapped up now, but it was one a week for a whole year. There's 52 episodes of it, 52 comics. Yeah, and basically what happens is in the future Batman is trying to go back in time to stop and kill somebody because his whatever his tech did fucked the world up, and there's like mechanical evil Superman and mechanical evil Wonder Woman, and of course the only two people left are Batman and Batman Beyond, because naturally Batman. And so he's trying to make this time thing to go back in time, and Batman Beyond's just trying to help him fend off like the machines who are coming to stop him, and Batman's like almost doing it, and there's like 20 seconds left, and his arms get chopped off, and so he's like, Terry, you have to go. And Terry's like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, you have to go back. And he's like, but watch out for me, because I won't believe you. I'll try to stop you. And he's like, and also watch out for Superman. Don't tell him either. He'll also try to stop you. We're talking about killing a man here. And he's like, okay. And he's like, all right, well, you got to go back. And so he sends him back in time, and he has to fix it. But in that universe, he comes back 5 years later. And Ronnie Raymond is too busy sleeping with some girl to turn into Firestorm with it's not Dr. Stein anymore. It's some other kid. But he's like, the kid shows up, and he's like, you were sleeping with this girl. Like, Green Arrow sent out this SOS like 20 minutes or an hour ago. And he's like, chill out. He'll be fine. They finally turn into Firestorm. and they show up too late and Green Arrow's dead. So like that, he becomes a big integral part of that story of Green Arrow dying and how it affects everybody. So he's a big part of a story when he dies.
Well, but it didn't have any alternate realities come together in this story, so but that's okay. If he's not
Yeah, well,
huge.
I think it's too big for Green Arrow. You know, like
Yeah,
even
I wasn't sure the
Batman-
size of him inside the DC.
I mean, he's a
universe.
big character, but he can't take down the Anti-Monitor. He just shoots bow and arrows, man. Like he's not like Batman's super smart, and he always helps out in this kind of stuff. And he's Batman, like it's just like a given. And there is a Batman that helps out in a lot of this, but it's mostly like this tech Batman from this weird universe that he seems kind of dumb. It doesn't seem as smart as regular Batman. It's kind of like actually it reminded me a lot of Batman Begins universe Batman. He's not really a detective, but he's a cool guy. Anyway, that was a lot of that was rough. Okay. Convergence. Not a lot happened in this whole fucking book. I read the book. It's where all the universes are coming together. I was really excited about it, but I think all the actual action and stuff that I'd be interested in happened in all of the side books. So for this giant event, there was Convergence 1 through 8, which is the main story of the Earth 2 heroes trying to figure out what the hell's going on this Brainiac world with all these alternate the Gothams and alternate other stuff, right? And I think it was really interesting for me after reading Multiversity, how many of those characters they brought into this. It was kind of cool. I was like, oh, look, they just had this other event with all the multiple Earths, and some of these characters are kind of intertwined. But the side books were all like Superman Convergence and Wonder Woman Convergence and the Flash Convergence. And in those books, you saw Flash fighting other Flash, fighting, you know, Injustice version of this character, and then like maybe the Flashpoint version of this character and stuff like that, where the main story was basically about the Earth 2 heroes who are similar to our standard heroes, like, but Alan Scott's Green Lantern, he gets his power from the Earth. And Alan Scott was the original Green Lantern, not like Hal Jordan. Like the original Green Lantern had found a magic lantern that gave him powers. He wasn't an intergalactic space cop. So they re-envisioned.
He was more like Ryan Reynolds.
No, Ryan Reynolds was an intergalactic space cop.
Wait, okay, sorry. Okay, no, I thought it meant more born into it versus being chosen.
No, it's like he literally found a magic lantern that gave him magic powers somewhere. Like he was a miner or something, and he found magic lanterns. Alan Scott. In the New 52 universe, he has his powers like the Earth. Like he's basically like Gaia, not Gaia, but like he gets Earth. That's why he's green. He feels the green, as you call it, like quotes around the green, and he uses that to his advantage. And he's gay, actually. I don't know if that means anything, but they made him gay, and people were upset. And he made out with his boyfriend in the first issue of Earth 2, and then the boyfriend died the next episode. So people were so upset that they killed off the boyfriend, so he wouldn't be making out with anybody, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so
what year was that made?
That was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when New 52 started.
Sad.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, it's just whatever. And so in this, it's basically you're following those characters, trying to figure out what's happening, and like meeting up with that Telos guy who was the kind of he was the embodiment of the planet. Remember, because we were talking about Mogo, because I was talking about how this planet guy's kind of alive. And it turns out the real bad guy wasn't even Brainiac in the end. It was this wizard guy that they helped out, and it was all kind of bullshit, but whatever. It was kind of cool to see all the heroes teaming up. But the coolest part was once the bad guy was finally fighting, like they realized that this bad guy was Bad News Bears, and so everyone just turned against him, except for like half the ones were bad, half the ones were good. So they were all fighting, and you got to see all these superheroes fighting. And then Parallax Green Lantern, which is, he's from that alternate universe, I assume, where he destroyed Coast City and stuff. It's not alternate, but it's old timey. I told you that, right? That he got Parallax inside of him. I think we talked about that in the Green Lantern chat.
Yes.
And so he comes and just blows the guy up. And I was like, fuck yeah, Green Lantern. Even though it's like bad Green Lantern, but he was like, yeah, you're a bitch. And he just kills him. And it was awesome. But then, like, the guy was like, the Telos guy was like, okay, I'm good. And Brainiac was like, yeah, I'm really not that bad, I guess. I was just like turned evil from the Anti-Monitor. It was a whole bunch of like, I don't know. I was even confused. And I've read a lot of these books. And I was like, okay. But then he's like, all right, I'm going to send you guys back to your universes. Oh, wait, I can't, because the Crisis event, Crisis on Infinite Earths, turned all the multiverses into one universe, which is what I told you happened when we talked about the crises. The Crisis on Infinite Earths streamlined the universes to make it easier for readers to understand. So there was only one Earth, and there was only one planet with superheroes, and all of it took place on that until Final Crisis, which was in 2007, rebuilt the multiverse. So the Brainiac, Telos combo, whatever, were like, hey, we can't send you back unless you stop that from happening, because unless you stop the multiverse from disappearing, we can't send you back to your own universes for the multiverse, like to still exist. And then Flash is like, cool, no problem. And then like other Superman and then other person were all like, we'll go and stop it. And then they did, I guess. And so I think they just made Crisis on Infinite Earths never happen. Like I think that's what happened in this 8 issues is what the end thing was is Crisis on Infinite Earths never happened. And I'm really confused about it. And I don't understand why they bothered, but they did. So
okay, so by you describing these two events, they seem very complex. Now, is that a good sign for the things that are coming out in the future? Like, so,
I guess. I mean,
franchises. They've already revealed a couple, right?
Yeah, they quote unquote rebooted it, everything again. The New 52 is over. It's now just the new DC universe or whatever they want to call it, and they have a couple new books coming out. And right now, Darkseid War is starting, which is super exciting because it's Darkseid versus the Anti-Monitor, which is bananas, right? Because Darkseid's super strong and powerful, and the Anti-Monitor is super strong and powerful. So that'll be an interesting read, but I'm going to wait till that's collected. I don't feel like reading that all right now. I don't, it's just like buying more books. It seems like it's going to be cool. Like it doesn't seem to matter. I feel like it didn't seem, it's like a big deal for legacy comic book fans, but not a big enough deal for non-legacy comic book fans because they remade, I don't know, maybe that they're bringing back some of these characters they killed off. And that's what they're using this for. Like maybe some of these books are like
reintroductions
are back because the crisis never happened. And so that's probably what they're doing. They're like, well, how do we get these characters back? We killed them. Like that's a history. Like that happened. So how do we undo that? Well, we have this planet where these characters still lived and we undo it. So like when Supergirl died, she's back, but even though there is a Supergirl already, so maybe her history still exists, or maybe it's a way for them to change the origin stories, but not quite the origin, but like maybe things that happen. So maybe Batgirl never got shot by the Joker because of Crisis not happening, So, and she never went paralyzed, never became Oracle. So she could be Batgirl. She could have been Batgirl for the last 40 years instead of being Batgirl for, 10 and then getting paralyzed and being Oracle. And it's a way for them to just be like, well, ripple effect, I don't know. It should be, I think it's a positive thing. There's nothing negative about it. That story still exists. I never finished it. It was too wordy for me. It was like so many words on a page. It was so like thick to get through. It was crazy. But, I just noticed this. That's rad. On the side of the Multiversity comic books, there's like 1 through 51, which there's 51 multiverses. And the book that the story takes place, that number is lit up on the side. So that's kind of cool. Sorry. That's
who would you say would be your favorite? I guess like you were talking about before, they brought people back that you didn't expect to be back because they were dead within the Crisis.
Yeah.
Words. Which one would you say was your favorite that was brought back?
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Like it seems like they're gonna kind of tell me, I guess, who my favorite. I if anything, these books maybe want to read Earth 2 heroes because those Earth 2 heroes are super rad. I mean, I would love to see I would love to read if they had it. It doesn't exist, but I would totally read a Parallax Green Lantern book and just like read about him being like a total dick badass and just killing people and stuff. Like that'd be fine for me. I don't know. I don't know. That's the thing is like I feel like I don't know what was resolved with this, and it doesn't seem like it was that important. I'm sure it'll pay off in the Darkseid War, maybe because the Anti-Monitor was never destroyed or something, or that never happened. That's why the Darkseid War is happening. But the more and more I read of these new books, like I've been reading that, like I said, that Batman Beyond book. All these characters that I don't know or didn't know very well, they're kind of being introduced, and I'm getting these backstories of this New 52 stuff that I didn't even know happened because I haven't been keeping up with every character, but there's been about 2 years of it, and you don't really think about how much story that is, but that's a lot of story, from different characters. So I think I don't know. I mean, you had a good question. I don't have an answer for you. I'm just rambling because I don't know. And it's frustrating, but it's, I don't know, man. Quick thing, because what?
Go ahead. Well, I would say, do you feel like these were necessary? Because I know they want to retool and redo and re-showcase everyone all over again. But did you feel after completing both of them that you are in a better place with the series, or could they have handled it a different way or made it longer?
I think Multiversity, everything except the last page, which kind of made it like, oh, it was all in your head, was awesome and super enlightening. It was kind of rough to get through. Like I said, it's not an easy read. None of it is. But that Ultra Comics book, if anything, I suggest, Chris, just going to find Ultra Comics #1 or listeners, because it was one of the most interesting things. If you're reading this, you're like, other people have read this, but it's telling me that the universe will end if I keep reading this. But I'm sure other people have read it. But what if everyone who bought it didn't read it? You're kind of having this like weird existential crisis while you're reading it because it's telling you not to read it. But I guess now that you guys have heard I've read it, not the same. But I was reading it in like a bubble because I don't know anybody that's up to date on this, but I'm sure obviously people are reading it, but it was like The Ring, but it was a comic book. I don't know. It was, I don't know. It was talking to the author, and no books really do that. And it was really interesting. That and the Multiverse Guidebook, I think, are the two highlights of the whole thing. And Multiversity #2 with all the flashes punching a dude in the face real quick. It's awesome. All right, we only have a couple minutes left. So before we wrap this up, I want to just quickly tell you what's happening in Secret Wars #1, or at least the big stuff. So basically, the Ultimate Universe, there's only 2 universes attacking each other in that universe, or in that.
Wait a minute. Have we just spent this whole episode talking about the DC world explosion?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So now we're at Secret Wars. Secret Wars is the Marvel thing. But
should we leave Secret Wars to being like a whole episode on its own? Because I feel like this is so dense.
I guess I've only read one comic of it. So
how many have been out so far?
I was like 3 or 4. I guess I could buy them, but
let's do a collection. Unless you really don't like Secret Wars 1 and you can explain why now, and you don't plan on reading the other ones.
It was interesting. I just feel like I don't know the Marvel. It's kind of like when you read Civil War. There's so many characters you don't know. Like there's so many characters I don't know that I'm like, who the fuck? Like I've never read a single comic book of the Ultimate Universe, and so like I'm like I don't know any of these guys. They're interesting, and so I might read more. So I guess we'll wait till next week. That's a lot to talk about either way. So even if we just talk about issue 1, we could talk about Marvel because you have a better understanding of Marvel overall anyway, or maybe not anymore.
I would think so. Well, I mean, from a cinematic universe perspective,
right? And that's the Ultimate Universe. I would say.
Oh, good. Is it really?
Because Nick Fury's black in the Ultimate Universe, and they're kind of going with most of the Ultimate Universe characters.
Okay.
In that, so yeah, kind of because in that Ultimate Universe, actually, yeah, like because Mr. Fantastic isn't Mr. Fantastic, it's weird. So yeah, I guess you can consider that the Ultimate Universe, kind of the way they're going. So yeah. All right, we'll talk about that next week.
Is Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales, or is that Amazing?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. He's the Spanish kid, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like black Hispanic.
Yeah.
Mix or something.
They just went for both.
Yeah, they're like, why not?
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So any questions before I wrap this up or anything you want to say, Chris? I don't know. I feel like I was talking a lot this episode, like old times, but
no, I mean, that was the point of this because it was so deep. And then now this is going to be I listen to all of our shows and I'm going to re-listen to this one again just because so I can understand. Because I honestly thought at one point, I thought the ending of the book was the kid waking up. And then the other one, the deep ending, was from the DC one. So I didn't realize we were talking about the exact same.
No, they're 2 books.
Wait a minute. Okay.
There's Multiversity and then there's Convergence. Crap. Convergence, what we talked about the second half, is where all the guys are just fighting each other. And she's like, oh, they're on a war planet and they're all fighting each other. And there's Sinestro, or there's the Green Lantern, Parallax Green Lantern, and then there's and they all had to stop Crisis of Infinite Earths from happening. Multiversity is the one where the comic book talks to you, and it's all the different multiverses, and they all come together, and the kid wakes up.
So how are they interconnected at all?
They are not directly interconnected, but lots of the characters that I just like found or whatever found out about were appearing, like that I read about, and lots of the universes that are talked about in Convergence were detailed in the Multiverse Guidebook. One that had like all the different. Remember, I was like, "There's 51 of these. Yeah. They're really interesting." Like lots of those characters, like Booster, like even Booster Gold and stuff like that, appeared in the Multiverse Guidebook or whatever. So
this will make for a fun re-listen too.
Yeah, and wait, I feel like I missed this page. This looks awesome. How did I miss this? Oh, I must have read this, but it's so cool. It's basically like a quick overview of the DC universe in its entirety in the middle of the Multiversity Guidebook. It's super neat. Anyway, Multiversity Guidebook and Ultra Comics #1, I say are the 2 you need to get out of those. If you're just going to pick 2, they're real fun reads. Okay. And I almost want to let you borrow, next time you're over, I'm going to let you borrow Ultra Comics #1 because it's so fucking interesting. I like the way it talks to you. It's as far as like a experiment in writing or something, it's interesting. So, okay, let's wrap this up. Chris, can you tell everyone what just happened and where to find us?
I couldn't tell a damn thing about what just happened. But where to find us, though, we do have a Comic Chat with Gat Twitter account, which I run terribly. And it is Comic Chat WGAT It's really easy at Comic Jack WGet. And then we are also a collection of other shows and podcasts under both going across movies to video games and technology. And it's at cbxcast.com. And you can now search for our podcast on any of your podcast stations that you like, because we are on our own now, I guess. I don't know how you would.
Well, we're on our own for 3 to 4 episodes at a time. So that's the thing, is if you're going to listen to the Comic Chat with Gat feed only, you're going to get the latest 3 to 4 episodes. I think soon as we get through these giant chunks of Green Lantern ones that take up a lot of our internet space, our cloud space, we'll have 4 episodes at a time. But at the moment, Green Lantern Part 1 and 2 are just so big that they take up a lot of space. So once those are through our thing, you'll be able to hear the latest 4 episodes. Otherwise, you could always just still subscribe to the Cardboard Box feed if you wanted to hear all the podcasts, and all of our backlog is there, as well as the website, cbxcasts.com, cbxcasts.com. Also, we have a lot of fun on Instagram, so you should follow us there too.
We do have a Comic Chat. It's just Comic Chat with Gat, right?
Comic Chat. Yeah. Cool. At Comic Chat with Gat.
There. Had some good interactions with people regarding the new Batman DLC for Arkham Knight.
Yeah, that looks rad. Oranges. Skins, and the thing you posted today was awesome, Chris. So good job on that. Like, there's alternate endings. In Arkham Knight.
That is pretty cool.
It's super exciting. I can't wait for that game. Are you getting that game, Chris? You like the Batman games, right?
I love the Batman games. I think this is going to be. I don't know if I should just get it on PS4 or if I should get it for Xbox One.
I'm getting it on PS4.
Getting a PS4.
Yeah.
Is there a reason?
There's exclusive DLC, but it's probably time exclusive. But either way, the Batman games have always been a PlayStation thing.
Yeah, the controls are a lot better on the PlayStation.
Well, I mean, it's the same controls.
No, doing the fighting. I like the way that the triangle, square, circle.
Yeah, and it's also though, like, even from the beginning on Arkham Asylum, you could play as the Joker exclusively on PlayStation, and then there was something else that was exclusive on PlayStation on Arkham City. There's always been a real tight bond between WB and Catwoman was for everybody, but WB and Sony have always had some sort of, like, or at least PlayStation itself, like Shadows of Mordor had exclusive content and stuff like that. So it seems like WB games, which seem to be my favorite games overall, like most of the time, like they've been doing real good lately with Shadows of Mordor and stuff like that, are better on PlayStation. So
okay, well there you go, everyone.
Cardboard box talk for you. All right, Chris, thanks for coming, and it was a good time. So
it was a good time. It was confusing, and I'm excited to re-listen to this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to listen to it and see how terrible I did, and that way I could tweet at you a Comic Chat with Gat. You could retweet me and say all the stuff I got wrong. It'd be great.
There we go. We'll do that.
All right. We love you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye. No, there's no sugar in tonic water.
No,
it's carbonated water.
No, that's club soda.
Oh, sorry. Okay, verbiage then. Use club soda.
Well, they're actually 2 different things. Like, I bought both of them because I was like, why are there 2 different things? And I looked at it. There's like calories in tonic water, no calories in club soda. I did buy club soda, but either way, it's just bubbly water.
I like club soda with vodka. That tastes good.
I love club soda. I also love lime. So yeah, it would be better than what it is now.